EVs that are trying to do self-driving have vision, which is cameras. When you say vision, it's cameras. So think of like a human being. We have two cameras in our eyes, kind of. That's how we drive, right?
Yeah. And these are my cameras?
Yeah. My cameras here?
And that's why you sometimes wear eye camera shades like this. So all of the vehicles have cameras. And when you buy a Tesla, like right now, it's like 8 cameras, right? That are all around the car and can see all of around it. Now, that can get you a lot of information. But as you guys know, if you've ever looked directly into the sun, it's actually hard to see.
It sharpens the peepers.
Well, if you do it often enough, you kind of strengthen
ocular muscles. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You train.
Yeah.
Or if it's incredibly foggy, or there's whatever conditions that make it hard to see, there are obvious downsides with driving, right? That make driving difficult. Maybe a blizzard or a hurricane or whatever is going on. So LiDAR is light detection and ranging. It is literally shooting laser beams out of the car, and those laser beams hit the stuff around the car and then bounce back. And from that, it can make a 3D map. It's actually up behind us right now. That's what it looks like.
Holy.
And this is what a Waymo, which is the most successful, like fully autonomous car right now, is doing. If you've seen self-driving cars anywhere, it's in like a couple cities in the US. Yeah. It is literally acting like a bat. And there's that spinning kind of like siren looking thing at the top. That's a LiDAR system. So it's spinning around and literally shooting lasers at everything around it. And in ridiculous amount of definition, you get this like 3D world around. It looks like the Matrix. You know, when Neo like sees the Matrix and it's all like green things, like all green lines and everything. That's what it looks like with LiDAR. And you might think that's badass, right? You should do that. Not only should you do that, it has nothing to do with light, really, right? You can do this in complete darkness. And since you're shooting laser beams everywhere,
and fog and in
doesn't need light. Yeah. And then on top of that, there's a third thing you can add in, which is radar. And if you look at the imaging here, not nearly as defined as LiDAR. Radar is, what you hear about in, planes and whatever else, which is that this
little
is
red dot is your puppy getting run over.
These are all,
it's not so bad when you see it like that, though. It's not as visceral.
Because this test footage is done, they basically drive a Waymo through a dog park, and each of these dots.
This is the email you're getting from Waymo when they kill your dog. It's like, it's not.
It wasn't that bad.
It's not that bad. It's a
like
tiny little blip.
It's like, did you ever look at those like WikiLeaks videos that came out that Chelsea Manning leaked? And it's like the videos of them killing civilians in the helicopter.
No,
but hold on.
Why did you say that so casually?
No, because
you guys ever watch those videos of people killing civilians?
Because the video is casual.
I didn't.
The video is casual. It looks like, I'm not kidding, it looks exactly like.
I watched LeBron highlights.
You know when you. I'm not casually looking. It's not a daily thing.
I don't scroll through mass murder, dude.
Briefly to come out of this is like what you're saying is true. What you're saying is kind of true. There's like these leaked videos that came out that Chelsea Manning like leaked to WikiLeaks, and they came out, and a video from a helicopter of like civilians getting shot by the U.S. military. And the video like looks exactly like when you call in like an AC-130 in Modern Warfare 2. Like it's like I'm not saying it's not awful. I'm telling you that layer
your brain is
you're
rotten.
removing. No, it looks like a video game, and that's removal of the human element is real. That that when you see something like damage like that, it's like
I've seen
does remove you from the consequence of what is happening. Not super related to this.
And I do want to be clear. This is not running over dogs. This is radar on a street.
I've already claimed it. It's already been claimed.
Just saying, if it did run over dogs, it would feel less bad.
It wouldn't be as bad because you're not seeing the puppy's face.
Because you wouldn't see the puppy's face.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so
that's your argument for radar in cars.
It's doing it's doing both of these things.
Okay. So here's the core thing. With radar, quickly, the benefit, LiDAR is this really cool version, right? You can see everything around you, looks super futuristic.
Yeah.
Crazy powerful. Radar, way less so. And this is older tech, right? This is shooting microwaves, radio waves, sorry. They're slower, so you're not getting as much definition, but they can go through certain types of, let's say, fog and whatever else. So you basically have two physical different wavelengths, and they can kind of cover each other's gaps, right? LiDAR might have some gaps, radar can cover that, and then vision, which is cameras, that can see everything around you, again, like eyeballs, right? Like you would imagine. So there are 3 different types of sensors that you can put into a self-driving car that will help you to learn what's around you, right? And so what Waymo, which is the current leader in the US, has done is they are making their cars with cameras all over, just like a Tesla. And also there's a LiDAR system. There's that thing at the top and on the sides, they have LiDAR. So it is shooting lasers everywhere while they're driving. And they have radar. They have 3 different systems, which are overlapping and basically covering each other to make sure absolutely everything is covered. And all 3 of these combine together in a Waymo to give it a ton of information of everything that's around it in any condition. That is their approach. They think this is the Gusteau approach. We're going to go slow, careful.
So the way this manifests, and I think Doug might have a similar story, is I used one of these for the first time like a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
And I was excited to just try it out. And we pulled up to the, get in the car, pull up to the first intersection, and somebody crosses in front of us. And on the screen in the Waymo, you can see the like digital person walking across.
Yeah.
And it's like even their finger and like hand movements, you can see their whole every movement captured on the screen.
Yeah, you can kind of see it here in this LiDAR thing. Like, it's ridiculously detailed. And this, again, you could be in pitch blackness and it would see this. And it's crazy.
Blew my mind because we were on the way to a party that night. And while we were driving on this street,
you hit a dog.
A homeless guy stepped out into the street in front of the car with his bike. He just walked out and the car slammed and got out of the way. And I saw this happen and I was like, I genuinely don't know if I would have been able to do that if I was driving the car. And it was a weirdly uncomfortably good demonstration of like
Waymo hires homeless people to go.
He's
looking at his watch and he's like timing his way out on the street.
And they had to go through a lot of homeless people to get to the point.
No, a lot of them got run over. I'm gonna be honest with you.
But that's part of the nature of progress, baby.
That's the business.
Yeah, it's like I said last week. You got to destroy some jobs.
That's not what he said. That's not what he said, folks. We got enough comments.
So. That more manufactured and like meticulous approach, I guess I felt more confident about trying the Waymo than I would trying a Tesla.
Yes.
However, I think as someone who's generally interested in both of these things, I'd be willing to try the Tesla self-driving stuff as well.
So your reaction is probably everybody's reaction, which is Waymo and the other major autonomous driving vehicles. So Waymo, for people who don't know, these cars they do not have a driver. There's no driver in them, and they're going around Los Angeles, I believe Phoenix, I wrote it down, in San Francisco right now. So they're in 3 cities. They're expanding rapidly. The other big one that's going on is Baidu, which is a Chinese company. Mm-hmm. They're also doing this with driverless cars in 5 different major Chinese cities. So there's 2 like major leaders right now that are currently deployed doing this stuff. And then Tesla is the other big player in the space. Tesla, though, does not have these systems, right? They do not have LiDAR. They do not have radar. They don't have this extra layer of knowledge and information that a Waymo has.
Just cameras.
And so Elon Musk has said the following: LiDAR is a fool's errand. And anyone relying on LiDAR is doomed. Pauses. Doomed. Expensive sensors are unnecessary. It's like having a whole bunch of expensive appendixes.
Well, that settles it.
And there it is from the
and
genius.
There's no business reason he might want to cut costs on safety.
No.
So, all right. So you probably are thinking, hearing this and going like, why would you not just add the extra stuff? Like,
okay. So could I predict the answer here?
Yeah, I would love to. I would love to hear what you think.
I do have a thought is in Waymo, for Waymo's business model or the way the company's playing out right now, I'd guess that spending a lot of money to maximize the performance of each car is more acceptable in the context of the business because you don't need to sell the cars to owners. They're basically taxis that are used by a bunch of people all the time on the street in the same way that you could, that people just use like bikes for rent on the street. So you can spend a lot of money on one car because of how often it's going to get used by a bunch of different people. But Elon and Tesla have to take a different approach because they have to make the cars affordable to individual consumers.
Basically, yes.
And get value out of all the millions of cars they've already sold.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So there's 2 big arguments here. So again, the obvious response to this is like, holy shit, I'm not going to get in a car if it doesn't have LiDAR, if it doesn't have these extra sensors. Like, why on earth would I ever get into a Tesla and let it drive me somewhere if Waymo has more information, more sensors? To give you a sense of numbers, a recent Tesla has 8 cameras on it. a Waymo has 29 sensors across these things, right? So it's not just different types. It's also just more of them. And you can see it when you look at a Waymo car. There's just more stuff on it.
It does look insane.
It looks insane. It looks wild. Whereas a Tesla looks like a car, right? And so why would Tesla do this? There's a couple main arguments. One is, like what you said, it's expensive. LiDAR is very, very expensive. Initially, it cost tens of thousands is the estimate to put LiDAR into a car. That is completely undoable when you're talking about selling a car to an average consumer, right? It is going down in price. Waymo is like working to really, really drop it down. But traditionally, it's been very expensive. And then the other, so that's the kind of obvious one. And the other is a more high-level idea about how you focus your business, which is like, okay, it's great to have 3 complex systems, LiDAR, cameras, and radar in a Waymo. But now your team of engineers who have to solve this unbelievably hard problem of self-driving with all the different conditions that can happen, and to do it at a level with such an obscene amount of security and safety and redundancy, because the instant you do hit that dog, you're probably in a lot of shit. Even if you do show them that radar footage and Aiden laughs, like you're in trouble.
I don't even see the dog.
It's just a dog.
You're a court witness.
Where they only share the radar footage. They're like, guys, it's not bad. And so the idea here is you should focus your team on one thing, right? Instead of having your team be split into the LiDAR team, which has to make the hardware and the software for LiDAR, and the camera team, which makes the hardware and software, and the radar team, and then a team that brings all that together, and the computing becomes more complex. Each of these cars comes with a built-in computer, which is running all of this really complex AI processing. The idea is Waymo has arguably, that's the thinking, a bigger and more complex problem to solve, and they are more spread out. What Tesla's theory is that human beings do not have lasers in our eyeballs. We don't shoot radar beams. Speaking for myself. We don't shoot beams. Our entire road system is based around human beings looking with eyeballs. Mm-hmm. And the thinking is, if you do a really good job of making software that can just navigate roads well with cameras like a human, and in fact, Teslas have more cameras than we have eyeballs. They have more information, right?
True.
Oh.
And the roads are built for this. They should, in theory, be able to make a car that is just as good as humans. And if they can do that with way less cost and way less complexity, they're making a better product for people that can scale way better. And then the real moonshot thing, the real thing of, oh my God, if we pull this off, we win, is the fact that right now they have 4 million cars out in the world. They have 400,000 with the full self-driving hardware. The instant it's ready, like a McDonald's, can deploy it to every single one of their cars and instantly become the dominant player. By comparison, Waymo has 750 total cars. Oh. They're the big, cool leader. Oh my God, Waymo, 750 in their entire history. And so if Tesla pulls this off, if they focus all of their resources on this one thing and say, hey, we're going to do what is arguably a harder problem because we have less information on our cars. We don't have LiDAR. We don't have radar. But we have the same amount of info that a human being would have. If we get this right, the amount of payoff is absolutely astronomical because instantly we are the dominant player around the globe.